From Idaho's News Channel 7, this is Viewpoint.
It is Sunday morning, so you know what that means. It's time for Viewpoint, Idaho's longest-running public affairs program. Today we're talking about the Boise Rescue Mission ministries. For almost 7 decades, the BRMM have been restoring hope, peace, and direction for people going through some of the worst times of their lives. But for all that consistency, a big change just happened for the leadership there. And today we're joined by the retiring president and CEO, Bill Roscoe, and the new president and CEO, Jen Barth. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Justin.
Awesome, appreciate it. So we'll start with the Reverend. You've been retired now as we're recording this for 4-ish days, less than a week. You getting pretty good at solitaire? How are you spending your time?
Well, every morning I have a list from my wife, make sure and do these things today.
Nice.
And I'm enjoying doing those things, frankly. I'm gonna be more involved at the sheriff's office in Canyon County. I've been the volunteer chaplain for a long time.
Oh, wow.
So I hope to be more involved there. And I have other ideas about volunteer opportunities.
Okay.
And we'll see what comes to the top, but I also want to play golf. Never could play golf, but I'm going to try now to learn to play golf.
Fantastic. Well, you have a little bit of time for that.
I do.
Yeah. Hopefully whoever plays with you lets you win. I mean, it would be mean if they didn't. It's Reverend Bill Roscoe, for crying out loud. You were there for 24 years. How much do you think you're going to miss it?
Well, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to be alongside here to help Jen as much as I can and as much as she'd like me to over the rest of this year.
Right.
And, dabble in a few things with Jennifer according to what she'd like me to do. And I'm going to be in the community. I'm not leaving. We're going to stay in the valley, and I'll be out and about and see people. Mm-hmm. So, I'll miss it on the one hand. I'll miss the people that we work with. I'll miss the people that we serve. I'll miss all the great stories that I hear on a routine basis when I'm in the office about successful recovery, about people finding their way out of homelessness. Yeah. But I'll stay in touch so I get some of that news too.
Jen Barth, again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Someone have big shoes to fill, but you're ready. I read the release, the resume a little bit. Great choice. You got to be excited.
I am beyond excited and humbled and honored. It's we have had the joke about big shoes to fill for a while because it's been a constant comment, and I think the first thing I love it. Thank you. It gave me a chance to reframe it. But they are big shoes to fill, and I don't think anybody can fill 25 years of community service like Reverend Bill has, honestly. So we have likened it to passing the torch. And he has carried it high, and he has carried it long, and he has carried it with integrity and sacrifice, and I plan to do the same thing. But I know it's a big torch, and it carries a lot of weight, so I have a lot of listening and learning to do, and that is my first real job. And thanks to him, he's just, from day one, even though this is officially day 4, this whole last month, he has brought me in on things to try to get me up to speed, and that's a gift. It was something that he didn't have to do. CEOs have a lot of opportunity in transition. They can walk away and just go play golf.
But he's behind you.
But he truly loves his city and his community, and what he's done in 24 years. I will take every minute of his time that he has graciously given me to learn. So
you might have to learn how to play golf as well if you don't know already to get some of that time.
I don't know, so maybe it'll be our bonding moment outside of work.
Yeah, you can just caddy. You come to this position with a lot of experience, though. You founded and are the executive director of Unity Ministries. What is that for folks?
Yes, and I just retired, not really,
okay.
But I just relinquished that title. I'm now the Director Emeritus of the Unity Ministry Foundation, and it really started to gather our community. I think growing up in a church environment, you heard a lot about this church does this church does this, and it was all about what we don't agree on. And that always disturbed me, because how can we reach our community if we're with one another trying to figure out what we don't agree? And so I think my heart was, I really want to reach my community, and I don't want to do it with this denomination or this group of people. I want everybody to be involved. So that's where Unity came involved. It wasn't about only what we believe, but what can we find that we all agree on? And the common denominator was everyone, most good people, want to help people. And so we found initiatives that would include everyone to be able to help. And so we've been I've been volunteering within Boise Rescue Mission for almost 10 years now. So it was 2016 or 2017 was our first outreach there. And so we've done some spiritual care, we've done some logistical things, and we've obviously given to some of the initiatives that they have done. We've worked with Crystal's transitional home. We just recently went into the prison because a lot of the men and women that we meet in the shelters, they're coming from some of these other entities, and we kept hearing, wow, we'd love to have met you when. And so we thought, let's start backtracking so that when we meet them at Boise Rescue Mission, it might not be our first point of contact. So to get to do something like this as a full-time job is just the best gift in the whole world.
Well, and there's a lot to do.
Yes.
There's a reason it's called the Boise Rescue Mission Ministries, Reverend. There's a lot that y'all do. We'll start, though, with, I think, the thing that people know mostly you for, the emergency food and shelter. How big is that for folks who find themselves in crisis in this community?
It's really huge, Justin. You know, when you're hungry and you're homeless,
right,
that's a terrible combination.
Yeah.
And our theory and our philosophy is that we prepare and serve really good meals to people who come in hungry to begin to establish a relationship with them so that we can maybe open some other doors that are at the rescue mission that people can participate in. We had 522 people sleeping in our beds this last week, and we're serving 900 meals every single day.
Whoa.
So there's a huge need out there right here in our valley, and we're happy to be able to stand in the gap with people and help people to come in, have cold water, stay inside the dining room when it's 102 outside. You know, elderly people that need special care and special attention, moms with new babies, helping them to be out of the elements and into a good environment. All of that's so absolutely important, and we do all of it so that we can develop relationships with people and perhaps help them get on a path to recover from homelessness.
Jen, the Reverend, talked about it. There are emergency shelters for men, women, children. How are all those broken up?
Yeah, I wanted to speak to something, if I could,
Sure,
to
yeah,
what he said. I think something that was new to me that I hadn't understood before is, yes, we are an overnight shelter, but this whole week of it being hot and smoky, I was like, why are all these people here during the day? So I realized that when it's really cold or when it's really hot or when it's smoky or if they're medically fragile or if it's a mom with children or babies, it's not a one-size-fits-all. So I wanted to say that because I think that maybe our community is not as aware as I was not aware of that. I thought it was a get a hot meal, and you know, if you're in our program, of course you get to stay there because you're living there. But even with our emergency overnight shelters, there is opportunity. We don't just send people out in the cold or the smoke.
Right, 9 a.m.
Yes.
It's like, get out of here.
Yeah, we know it's 100 degrees. Sorry about that. We have resources and we have staff that's more than willing to accommodate for different situations like that. But yes, we have our women and children shelter, we have our men's shelter, we have our transitional home, and then we even have transitional apartments that are off campus, both in Canyon County and Ada County. So. Wow,
all over the place.
Yes.
Reverend, you also have an addiction recovery program. How does that work?
We do, and it's typically, well, anyone who's struggling with alcoholism or drug addiction is welcome to come into our program. And it's typically 12 to 24 months in length. And that's because we really tailor the program as much as we can to the individual. So it's a group, you know, you have group meetings and things like that, but there's independent case management going on with everyone individually. And so when they join the program, we develop a process for that person to get through the program, first of all, to get clean and sober and stay that way, and then to decide and figure out what are we going to do after the program. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And we have transitional housing, and that's a great asset to people, filling that gap between homelessness and independent living. But the program is very effective. We have a really good success rate. When people stay the course and go through the program, they do really well afterward, in the 70 to 80% of success in graduates from that program, which is really phenomenal in terms of recovery program. And I think a big part of the reason for that is it is a faith-based program. That is the one thing that we do, that you're required to go to church, you're required to do Bible studies. And I think that installation and that development of faith in the individual really helps them get through those really hard points in recovery, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So that you can get clean, stay clean, get off the street, stay off the street. Jen, what's the Cradle of Hope program?
The Cradle of Hope is our women's residential program, and it basically brings in pregnant women or moms with new babies, and we help them get established. Being a new mom for someone who doesn't have food insecurity or is lacking shelter is hard already. But for these women, it can be devastating, and they can lose their children if they don't have somebody to come alongside them to support them. And it's not just giving them a place. We have units that are they're apartments, but they're not within the shelter. It's not a bunk bed style shelter. It's a room with a crib and all the amenities that they would need to feel safe. And we get to help them in their parenting, because some of them haven't had a parent that showed them what to do, or some of them have lost other children and their desire is to do it different. And so we come alongside them with needs, with basic needs, but also education. Some of them need a GED and different things. And we can help them during the days. If they have work that they can go to, we have that ability. So it's a huge gift. It's probably one of my favorite programs, because I think there's a huge foster care need. And I think if we can come on the front side of that, behind it, and really encourage these new moms and show them what to do and help them get clean if they need to get clean, or learn the skills, get the counseling, get the spiritual care that they need, we're setting them up for a strong family unit. And that's huge for us.
Yeah, it seems like there's a theme there of not just you guys sort of being a triage unit where it's like, all right, come in for some food and then get back out there. It's like, we're going to give you some direction, resources, skills, abilities, and really help you out long term. Speaking of all that, Reverend, talk to me about the Veterans Ministry Program.
Well, I'm so very, very pleased with the way that program has developed, and from where we were to where we are is amazing. 16 years ago, pardon me, the Boise VA Homeless Outreach Coordinator called me. She was a friend of mine, and told me that they needed transitional living arrangements for homeless veterans who are coming out of the VA hospital and those who are participating in the outpatient drug and alcohol recovery program at the VA hospital. And we had some rooms on the 3rd floor of the River of Life Mission down on 13th and River Street. And she said, I know you got some apartments up there. How'd you like to partner with VA? Long story short, we made a partnership, and we started with about 15 rooms. I had one staff running that program. We shared case managers with the recovery program for some of the vets. But the point is that over the course of 16 years, we have developed that program to be a very, very strong connection with VA. With the VA hospital and all the services that the VA has to offer to veterans. We get everybody connected, so they have that connection and all the resources that the Veteran Administration has. And there's a lot of them for education, for housing, job preparedness, and all of that. We've gone from having 15 rooms to, I think, 33 or 34 rooms now. And we have 3 staff full-time who work with the veterans as case management, and a director and 2 case managers. And we're helping vets to get on their feet to the degree that in 16 years, we've had over 700 veterans come into our transitional living program and leave successfully back into independent living. And that is absolutely phenomenal.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So proud of that.
And one thing I love is that there's 3 stages. There is overnight for vets, there is recovery for vets, and then there's also transitional home for vets that are 3 different sections. So if they start here, they can end here, or they can jump and start here. So I love our veterans program.
For all that Boise Rescue Mission Ministries does, Jen, in the announcement, it said you're going to try to help it grow.
Yes.
How are you going to help it grow?
Well, for the next 30 to 60, 90 days, I'm going to listen a lot. We call it the
Right.
listening and learning tour because I recognize this is not an organization that you get in the speedboat and you hit the gas and you just start, making an impact. I think the wise impact is learning what we're doing. I mean, it's wildly successful in every way. The staff, and I've had the honor of the last few weeks, even though this is day 4, the last few weeks brought in on some things and getting to know our staff, and they really are, in heart and skill, they're world class, and I'm so honored. And so I think there's a lot of learning to do, but there is going to be no shortage of need in our valley. And so it's learning what we do and learning where there's still need and how we can reach and grow. And I think that's the growth part, is getting enough wisdom that when we get a need in the next few months, we know exactly what to do and how to do it. And the staff is phenomenal, honestly. They have a lot of wisdom that they've been giving me of, hey, there's this need. Already we had our all staff meeting for the first time, and somebody stood up and said an idea that they already have. So there's so many ways that we can reach our community more. And we want to do that. So it's just strengthening our community partnerships like Channel 7, our business partnerships, our community partnerships, showing people how they can give, how they can serve, how they can volunteer. So strengthening everything that remains, and so that we are ready for the growth in our valley.
Jen, you talked about the need. Are the shelters full, and do you ever turn anyone away at the shelters?
They are never full, and we have never turned anyone away, as far as I know. And I will say this from a volunteer point of view. I was volunteering probably 6 or 7 years ago, and there was a huge influx from out of country. So I'm saying this story to say I saw it in action.
Yeah.
And I saw the hallways lined with cots. And I'd been in there 100 times, and I said, what's happening? Like, was there a natural disaster or something in our neighborhood? And she said, no, we just had a huge influx from out of country, and we needed to make space for them. And so and I'm sure it was at multiple shelters that night, but they lined cots in those hallways so that not one person could get turned away. And I think that's what Reverend already mentioned, is there's a purpose why we don't fill certain facilities to 100% unless we need to, because we always have space. We haven't had to turn anybody away, and that is my heart and great desire, is that will never be something that we do.
Reverend, real quick, I'm sure you get this question a lot. Do you have to go to chapel or be a Christian to get help?
No. Short answer.
There you go. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
you don't. No.
Yeah.
We're a Christian organization, and in as much as all of us are Christians, and we believe, and we give people the opportunity to attend chapel,
Sure.
to attend Bible study, to get some Christian counsel, but it's simply and clearly that. It's an opportunity that you may or may not choose to take advantage of.
All right. Thank you both so much. We're going to talk more about these folks as people and how you can help the mission of the Boise Rescue Mission next, right here on Viewpoint. Welcome back to Viewpoint. I'm Justin Core. We're talking today about new leadership at the Boise Rescue Mission Ministries. And there's no one better to talk about that than the now freshly retired president and CEO, Reverend Bill Roscoe, and the brand new president and CEO, Jen Barth. Welcome back to both of you. I'll ask you both this question, starting with you first, Jen. Why do you feel called to this?
For me, it's deeply personal. I was once needing home, food, care, and so in this state. And so the opportunity to give back and serve a community that I was once a part of as a teenager is an incredible gift. And it's healing every day. So I appreciate the opportunity.
That is amazing. And I'm sorry you had to go through that. Sorry that was so tough. But I imagine there's a certain level of empathy there that you have that maybe other folks don't.
Yes, because when you know what it's like to feel without hope, when you know that in your story you felt like this was your whole story, and to be able to tell people, no, this is just a chapter, and give them that hope of it can be different. Like there's no straight line, there's no individual plan for sure, but there's always hope for everyone in our city. Yeah.
Woo, what an awesome message.
Yeah.
You just got to follow that. Reverend, why do you feel called to this?
Well, to retirement or to ministry?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Well, a lot like Jen, I have a very colorful past, and some of you at Channel 7 are familiar, so are your viewers. And when I found faith in God through Jesus, my whole life changed. And so I started volunteering at the Rescue Mission. I felt like that was a good place for a carpenter to go and volunteer, and I did.
I know of another, carpenter.
There's a few carpenters
Interesting
in
path there.
history. Anyway, once I got involved at the Rescue Mission and I saw how lives can change when you give people the tools that they need, the encouragement, the love, and the support that they need. It just makes it happen for folks, and it happened for me, just as Jen just said about herself. And so I started thinking and praying, God, where could you use me? And suddenly and without warning, my construction career had a break. And when it did, there was a job open at the Rescue Mission, and I applied thinking, well, they're not going to hire me, but I'm going to do it anyway. And they hired me. And 35 years ago, I started my Rescue Mission job.
Fantastic. And in that 35 years, do you think that it would have grown into what it is now?
No, certainly not. And even when I came to Boise 24 years ago, I had, plans and a vision, and I shared that with the board and shared it with the community. And one of the things I have to say, Justin and Jen, you already know this. This is the most generous community on the face of the earth. And we talked about when we see needs, we want to try to meet those needs. This is how we do it, is because people step up and come alongside of us, and they give their time and their treasure, and they pray, and we get to do all the work that we do because of this generous community. So no, I had no idea that we were going to do this, go like we went. But here we are, and thank God that we are, because 522 men, women, and children slept in our beds the other night, probably last night, and we couldn't do that without the support from these wonderful people in the Valley. So I didn't expect it. I'm glad for it, and I'm really grateful to hand it off to a competent leader.
That is awesome. Well, and I'm grateful for both of you, but also, as you already talked about, grateful to the community, because it's possible through them and that giving, and we see it every year for 7 Cares Idaho Shares, but just all the other giving opportunities they have, they always take it. So thanks to all you. You're great if you haven't heard that today.
Indeed.
So if people want to give, we'll start just by volunteering. If people want to help by volunteering, can they do that? How do they do that?
BoiseRM.org is a place to go. They can find out different ways to volunteer. Rev and I were just talking, and any ages. If you can put on an apron. We do require parents if they're minors, of course, but really you can volunteer as an individual, you can volunteer as a family, as an organization, as if your company wants to do something together as a team building. We have so many opportunities, and if going online and trying to figure those out is confusing, give us a call. We've got great people on the other end of that line, and they can help you find something that fits what would work for you.
We got about a minute. If people want to donate, how can they do that? If they have maybe clothes or physical donations, what do you need the most?
Well, we need a lot of things. You know, when you consider 522 people a night in our beds, we need everything you need at home for your family, for our family. So clothing, non-perishable food items, hygiene product, reading materials, good reading materials, volunteers, as Jen just spoke to. We always need finances. You know, you've seen your electric and gas bill, and imagine having all the facilities we do, having to heat and cool them. So there's a lot of need, and I appreciate that people meet our need every single day. And again, boiserm.org, you can give online, you can volunteer online, and you can connect with us.
Yeah. Reverend Roscoe, Jen Barth, thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin.
Been a real pleasure. Got a lot of hope now.
Thank you.
I mean, I did before, but also. Again, boiserm.org if you want to help out. I know you do. We'll wrap up Viewpoint after this.